Thank God. Thank goodness. Thank goodness they won that game. Let's go, Gene Segura, giving the big old fuck you to the Marlins for intentionally walking JT Realmuto in the bottom of the ninth inning to put 2 runners on for him with 1 out, and Gene Segura delivers basically the double bird to the Miami Marlins for that intentional walk to JT, and he delivers a game-winning RBI single to score Bryce Harper from second base after Bryce Harper reached second base on a very botched easy fly ball out there in left field, which allowed him to get to second base. So there are a lot of things the Phillies kind of got away with in this game, but hey, a win is 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 a win. And especially in the month of September, you take any win that you can get in any shape, in any fashion. You just got to do it. You got to find ways to win games. If they're ugly, if they're great, if they're fantastic, if they're mediocre, you take wins any way you can. And you need to win games. Continue to win games. You need to win series. And after that disastrous road trip out west, even though technically you barely didn't gain, you didn't lose any ground in the wild card race, you're still neck and neck with these, the San Diego Padres and the Milwaukee Brewers, who these two teams are playing right now. So you gave yourself a good chance to, you got the win today. So now let's see what the other teams do out there, the Brewers and the Padres. You got the win tonight. Chance to win the series tomorrow. Win series. Take it one game at a time. Today's game, good bounce back for Aaron Nola. I didn't think he was his sharpest, but he still recorded 10 strikeouts in this game. He still went 6 2/3 innings. He still only allowed 1 earned run. I would say his worst inning was that 4th inning, ironically, because, for some reason, the 4th inning in every Phillies game going back to the West Coast road trip has been the problem inning for every single starting pitcher out there. And Aaron Nola, after the Phillies grabbed the lead in the bottom of the 3rd inning, he instantly gave it up. But besides that, I thought he was pretty good. It was more of a pitcher's duel between him and Luzardo. Luzardo out there was nasty for the Marlins. There were some things that the Phillies did definitely get away with. We'll get into that a little bit later. That blocked, that sac fly by Alec Bohm, which was ruled, the catcher blocking the path of Sosa coming home. We'll definitely get into that. But yeah, still some things that issue me in this game. Offense was quiet, but I'll give credit to Luzardo. He was really good out there. He was just nasty dealing. So that's the one thing with the Miami Marlins. Their offense is bad, but their pitching is really good. Tomorrow you're facing Trevor Rogers, who has been struggling all year. So maybe that's a chance for your offense to wake up. But then you got Sandy Alcantara this Thursday. So yeah, the Marlins have good pitching. They don't have a good offense. So a lot of these games, most likely against Miami, you're probably not going to score a lot of runs. But tomorrow is a day to wake up the offense because Trevor Rogers, who you have, hit around this year, is a good chance for your offense to put some runs on the board to give some help to Bailey Falter, who's going to be starting tomorrow night's game. Overall, bullpen, still my concerns. Walking guys is an issue. Brad Hand hitting a batter, then allowing a single directly after. Rob Thompson takes him out immediately. Connor Brogdon allows, the game-tying run on a sac fly, but more that's on the fault of Brad Hand for allowing the 2 leadoff runners to get on. David Robertson walking guys, had a little bit of a jam in that 9th inning, got out of it. The walking is really an issue right now. We're still really seeing that issue with the bullpen without having Sir Anthony back there. And we did get some good news on Sir Anthony and Zach Wheeler today, and also Zach Eflin as well. Both Sir Anthony and Zach Eflin, they pitched simulated games today, this afternoon in Citizens Bank Ballpark. So they're most likely going to be going on a rehab stint very, very soon. Zach Wheeler had a catch today, was not feeling any pain in the elbow, so that is a good sign moving forward. They said they're going to move him into another throwing program to make sure, they're going to have another catch tomorrow, see how it goes, and they're eventually going to throw him into the throwing, area, get him some bullpen sessions, make sure that elbow and forearm feel good to where he can make his next start. So, some positive news right there. Still, some things are a little sloppy. It's the walking guys that's the bigger issue coming out of the bullpen. And I think you're really seeing that, missing when you don't have Sir Anthony back there. When you're seeing David Robertson get a lot of work. when you're seeing guys being put in high leverage situations when they probably shouldn't be. Even though I thought Brad Hand has been solid for most of the year, he's not really a guy that you should be in high leverage situations. It's just right now, I think that's my more concern. I do think the offense is eventually going to, they go for their spurts of not scoring a lot of runs, then scoring a lot of runs. They've been doing this the entire year. So I'm not worried about that overall. I think they'll be overly fine, especially when you're facing weaker competition. When you're facing the Nationals this weekend, that'll probably be your chance to score, put a lot of runs up on the board. So I'm not worried about that overall. It's right now it's the bullpen. Feel like we've been spoiled by having that really dominant bullpen, over that 2.5 month span. But right now, I think the bullpen's feeling it not having Sir Anthony in there and Corey Knievel. Because, like I said, you're using guys in situations they probably shouldn't be. Connor Brogdon, Brad Hand probably shouldn't be in high leverage situations. David Robertson being used a lot, and sometimes in instances where he's pitching 2 innings, really gassing up right there. Because the perfect setup would be, in my honest opinion, Jose Alvarado in the 7th, David Robertson in the 9th, David Robertson in the 8th, and then Sir Anthony Dominguez in the 9th when Sir Anthony Dominguez does come back. That would be my perfect bullpen setup right there for your 7th inning guy, your 8th inning guy, and your 9th inning guy. And then you mix and match, on days when guys aren't available and everything like that. Push Brad Hand to more of a 7th inning guy like you've done with Corey Knievel. Same thing with Connor Brogdon and all that stuff. There's a lot of guys in this bullpen that have been solid this year, but there's some guys that you just cannot use in high leverage situations, especially Brad Hand when he does allow runners. Tends to be prone to that. Even though his ERA has been solid all year, has an issue with that. And right now, the walks are becoming an issue with some of the guys in the bullpen. Not locating that strike zone, a little off with command. But like I said, I still think that's an issue with losing some guys in there and a lot of guys being overworked in situations that they shouldn't be. So I think that's the problem there. Today, you snuck away with a win. Nola was solid today. Definitely a big bounce back for him after his disastrous game in Arizona. And speaking of Arizona, they've been beating a lot of teams lately. It's very like they won the 4-game series against the Brewers. Now they're playing the Padres. I think the Diamondbacks won yesterday to shut them out. And currently, the Diamondbacks are still winning 1-0. So, I guess take it for what it's worth. But yeah, got to keep the wins coming. You've got to find a way to win series. Day by day, take it one game at a time, win games. I'm not going to go overly ecstatic after this win, but still, it's a win to get back in the right direction. After that disastrous road trip, you got some good news with the guys that are, on the injury list that are making good progression. You definitely need that. You need some positives to talk about here. Get this first win of the series. You get Aaron Nola with a bounce back performance, and now you have a chance tomorrow to win the series. Bailey Falter on the mound and Trevor Rogers on the mound for the Marlins, who you have beat around this year. Looking at some of the guys basically throughout this game. The game was really, like I said, it was a pitching duel. If you look at the pitchers, Aaron Nola, 6 2/3 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run allowed, 2 walks, 10 strikeouts on 97 pitches. Like I said, a major bounce back performance from him. He was very solid in this game. And if you look at Luzardo, he was 7 innings pitched, 4 hits allowed, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts on 92 pitches. He was very solid for the Marlins. And this was the first time I feel like the Phillies have seen him this year. He was really good. Working that slider, gutting the fastball. He was nasty out there. Definitely very nasty. Not many chances for runners in scoring position for both teams. Phillies went 1 for 2. Marlins went 1 for 5. Phillies do get on the board first. Looking at the lineup today, you see Sosa in the lineup, not for Bryson Stott. You're thinking to yourself, why are we taking Bryson Stott out a lot? Well, I guess Sosa really shut us up in this game because Sosa went 2 for 2, and he gave the first run of the game for the Phillies on a solo shot that goes off the left field foul pole, gives the Phillies a 1-0 lead. They do have a chance to put some more runs on the board, but then, Rhys Hoskins, he grounded into a fielder's choice. Then he got thrown out trying to steal second base. Not sure why he's doing that. Then you go to the top of the 4th inning. That's when Nola coughs up the lead instantly. Marlins tie the game up. Joey Wendell doubles to right field. Thank God for a fan interference. Probably could have prevented him from going to third base. But then Anderson singles, scores Wendell to tie the game up at 1. Aaron Nola manages to get out of that inning. And then basically Then you go to that bottom of the 6th. This is where, the controversial stuff comes up. So Sosa leads off the inning with a double down the right field line. He manages to get to third base on a wild pitch. Rhys Hoskins then walks. And then Alec Boehm hits a deep fly ball to right field, basically putting the ball in play, getting a chance for a sac fly out to Brian Anderson. Sosa tags. It was a fantastic throw by Anderson, and he was out at the plate. Then the Phillies challenged it to see if, Sosa got his foot in there before. And I guess if that, the catcher was blocking the base path of Sosa going to home. And obviously he was out. He was out. The foot did not get to the plate before the tag was applied. But honestly, I don't think he was blocking the path of the plate. I think the ball brought him there. And the rule states that the ball does bring the catcher into the base path. It's not blocking the plate. But I'll take it. I don't agree with the call, because that call has been crazy all year. The umpires have not got, it's basically one of those rules where, like, I guess you go to the NFL, you're saying, what rules as a catch or something like that. Or if you go to the National Hockey League, what rules as goaltender interference? We have no idea. I guess this is one of the rules in baseball where we have no idea what blocking the base path going to home plate means. And the Phillies called a break with this one. The call was overturned. Sosa was safe. Phillies took a 2-1 lead. Nola goes into the 7th inning, gets the first 2 guys out. He did get 10 strikeouts, so he has 200 strikeouts on the season. He walks the next guy with 2 outs. Alvarado comes in, gets Rojas to strike out the end off the inning. Then you go to the top of the 8th with Brad Hand out there on the mound. Wasn't good in this inning for Brad Hand. He's been very shaky in his past couple of appearances. Hit by pitch and then a single, so you get first and second situation, and then a bunt single or a sacrifice to move the guys over to second and third base. Connor Brogdon comes into the ball game. Anderson hit the sac fly, and then he manages to strike Garcia out to limit the damage in that situation. Run gets charged to Brad Hand. Connor Brogdon limits the damage. Phillies in the bottom of the 8th. They don't do anything. Top of the 9th inning. David Robertson out there on the mound to get the game into the bottom of the 9th tied. Leads off the inning with a walk. Pinch runner there for Cooper, and then JT with a huge play to catch Luke Williams, who was the pitch runner, out at second base. Absolutely gunned him. That was the second of the game. He did it earlier. So JT doing some big things back there. And then David Robertson manages to get 2 outs in this situation. He does walk Blade with 2 outs. Rojas then gets a single with 2 strikes, but then he manages to get LeBlanc to fly out to center field. Thank God. And we all breathe a sigh of relief right there. Then we go to that bottom of the 9th inning. Alec Boehm, of course, the unlucky hard hit line out, which was right to a guy that was positioned in that area. I have no idea why. Harper, the luckiest double of his life. I don't know what Brian Anderson was doing out there. Dropped the probably routine fly ball. It was a tough play, but still, the ball should have been caught regardless. I guess he slipped out there, and the ball dropped right in front of his glove. Harper gets the second. We'll take it any day of the week. Then JT gets intentionally walked to face Gene Segura, and Gene Segura does what any player should do: flip the pitcher to double bird, or flip the Marlins to double bird, and get the walk-off single to win the ball game for the Phillies. My God. My goodness. What a weird game. What a weird game. My goodness. Going to the lineup today. Kyle Schwarber goes 1 for 4. Rhys Hoskins goes 1 for 3. Alec Boehm goes 0 for 3 with an RBI on the sac fly. Bryce Harper 1 for 4, 3 strikeouts. Wasn't the best day for Bryce. He was not seeing Luzardo very well. JT Realmuto goes 1 for 2 with 2 walks. He had a good day to play. Gene Segura goes 1 for 4 with the huge RBI walk-off single. Matt Vierling 0 for 3. Guthrie making his major league debut, who was called up from Lehigh Valley. He goes 0 for 3. And Edmundo Sosa, he goes 2 for 2 with a walk and a solo shot and a double. So Sosa, surprisingly, was your best hitter in the lineup today. So a lot of people questioning the lineup decision to put Sosa in over Bryson Stott. I guess people like me are looking like major douches right here, even though Sosa still isn't a guy that you should be putting in the lineup every day over Bryson Stott. I guess it was a situation, okay, lefty out there, put Sosa in the lineup just for that situation. Hopefully Bryson Stott, even though they are facing a lefty tomorrow, I kind of hope Bryson Stott is in the lineup tomorrow because Trevor Rogers has been struggling this year. So hopefully that is a game for Stott to come back into. So after this win, you are 74-61 on the year. Looking at the standings currently. So with this win, I think you were, a game and a half? No, you were tied with the Padres because the Padres lost yesterday to the Diamondbacks. So with this win, you're a half game above the Padres in that second wildcard spot. And currently, right now, the Padres and the Diamondbacks, they're just getting underway. They're in the second inning, just ended. The Diamondbacks are winning 1-0. And if you want to watch the Brewers, they're in the top of the seventh with the Colorado Rockies. Milwaukee is winning 5-1. Really, you can't rely on the Colorado Rockies to win a series just because they are the Colorado Rockies. So there's that. But also, if you're looking around the league, we're talking about the NL East. First place in the NL East is getting very close, like neck and neck. The Braves are only a half game behind the New York Mets for first place in the NL East because the Mets, they have not been good in their last 10 games. They are 5-5 in their last 10. They're on a 3-game losing streak. They lost to the Pittsburgh Pirates today by a score of 8-2. And just looking at the New York Mets in general, just in their recent schedule, let me see. They won the series against the Dodgers, but then they lost the series to the Washington Nationals. And currently, because, they were supposed to play yesterday, but that game got postponed. So I'm assuming it's going to be a doubleheader tomorrow for them. But they lost today's game, 8-2 to the Pirates. So that's 3 straight losses. And now, if the Braves were to win today, because they're playing in Oakland, it'll be a tie for first place in the NL East between the Braves and the Mets. It's going to be very interesting going down the stretch between the Mets and the Braves. And I do believe, think about this. Going down the stretch, Friday, September 30th to October 2nd. Second to last series of the season for the Mets is against the Atlanta Braves. That is going to be a huge series to possibly determine the division. If it's tied going into that series for both teams, that is must-watch television. That is must-watch television there. That's going to be exciting as a baseball fan in general. My goodness. But if you look at the Mets' upcoming schedule as well, after this Pittsburgh series, they play Miami, they play Chicago, they play Pittsburgh. So it's a very easy schedule for them upcoming, but they lost 3 straight, so they're struggling right now. Then they play Milwaukee, they play Oakland, they play Miami again for 2 games. Then they play that series against Atlanta, and then they play the Nationals to close out the year. If we're looking at the Braves schedule to finish off the season, we know they play the Phillies a lot, but right now the Braves, they're playing in Oakland for 2 games. Then they got a 3-game series in Seattle, then a 3-game series in San Francisco. That's going to be a tough road trip. Then 3 games against the Phillies, 3 games against the Nats, 3 games against the Phillies, 3 games against the Nats, 3 games against the Mets, and 3 games against the Marlins. So we'll see how that ends up with the end of the season for those teams. Be very interesting. Be very, very interesting to see what happens. So if we look at tomorrow's game, like I said, Bailey Falter is going to be on the mound for the Phillies. He is going up against Trevor Rogers. He is 4-10 with a 5.57 ERA. His last game against the Tampa Bay Rays, he went 6 innings, allowed 1 earned run on 5 hits. But in the games previously against the Cincinnati Reds on July 25th, so I'm assuming he was injured for a little bit or he got sent down, he went 3 2/3 innings against the Reds on July 25th, 6 earned runs. Previous that to the Phillies, allowed 4 earned runs in 6 innings, so he can be hit around the bush a little bit. I'm not sure if he is just coming off of the injured list. I'm assuming that's the case, but because I don't remember any news about him being sent down. So that's something to think about there. Do you get Bailey Falter on the mound tomorrow against him? And then you're going to have Sandy going up against Kyle Gibson on Thursday. And then you got the National Series upcoming, and then you got the Miami Marlins series right after the Washington Nationals. And these couple of Marlins series are going to be the final times you see the Marlins this year. So get your wins. And if you're looking at that Marlins series in Miami next week, Falter, Gibson, Syndergaard going up against Alcantara, Cabrera, and Pablo Lopez. Yeah, it's going to be a tough pitching series for the Phillies that week. Marlins, they have good pitchers. They have a lot of good pitching in their depth and their organization and everything like that. They can't figure out the offense. That's why they haven't been a good team. Their pitching's really good, though. But tomorrow, you got a guy that's been struggling all year. Got to get some offense on the board for Belly Falter. And hopefully Belly Falter can give you another good game to win the series, because I would like to win this series tomorrow and not have to worry about winning a series with Sandy Alcantara on the mound on Thursday. Even though you have beaten Sandy a lot of times this year, I would rather take my chances with Trevor Rogers on the mound tomorrow to try to win the series. That's just my personal opinion in that situation. So yeah, got to do it. You got to do it. And just one more check of the scores before we end off this video. Top of the third for the Diamondbacks and the Padres. Diamondbacks are still winning 1-0, and the Brewers are still winning 5-1 in that game. So, looking at some of the comments sections right here before we end it off. Gene, the hit machine. Sosa good, Harper bad. I don't know what's going on in Philly. Yeah, Harper's been a little bit quiet since coming back. I feel like he's trying to do a little too much. That's just my opinion. He's gotten some big hits. He's got some singles. He's got some doubles. Haven't seen the power yet. think he's trying to do a little too much. I kind of think Thompson needs to shake the lineup up a little bit, put Harper back in the 3-hole, maybe move Rhys down, put Bowman 2. That should, and keep JT maybe batting cleanup. That's just, I would do Schwarber, Bohm, Bryce, JT, Rhys, and then the rest of the lineup. That's just my personal opinion, because Rhys has not hit a home run in over a month at this point, or almost a month. So maybe move him down in the lineup a little bit to get his confidence back. Put Bohm back into put Bohm in the 2-hole, and then the rest. That's just what I would do. Mets in full collapse for the division. Yeah, they've been struggling a little bit. What I want to know is, where the hell did Alvarado go in the 8th? He faces one batter in the 7th and doesn't come back out. I think that's just their thing. I don't think they trust Alvarado with a wraparound inning. I think his numbers coming the second time around isn't good coming out of the dugout. So I think they're trying to think to themselves, okay, he got us that one out we needed. Let's not push our luck with Alvarado because we don't know what could happen. I'm not sure. If Eflin comes back, send Ranger to the pen. I'm not sure I would throw Eflin right into the rotation after mentioning all that time, but who knows what happens. Who knows what happens. More worried about the hitting again. Every year advantages in September. Right. Like, I do think they go on there a little bit of slumps with hitting, but I do think they'll bounce right back. That's just what I think. Braves catch the Mutts tonight. Phillies and Mets first round matchup looming, and the Phillies will shock the world. Book it. I hope that's the case, but who knows? Oh boy, really don't want to face the Mets in the first round from Mr. W. Thank God we got the good Aaron Nola tonight. Yeah, thank God he bounced back. Don't understand why Thompson sticks with Rhys in the 2. Yeah, I think they should move Rhys down. I would personally put Alec Bohm up there in the 2-hole and then keep Gene down in that part of the lineup, just because you got a guy that can get on base. Even though basically Rhys, even though Bohm and Gene Segura basically are the same thing. I think Gene Segura's numbers up in the lineup just aren't the best in his career, I think. After that good road trip, I would take that as sarcasm, Scott. I will take this win any day of the week now, followed up with a win. Exactly. If they win this series, they make the playoffs. They must go 5-2 on this homestand. Okay, you just corrected that. Okay, 4-2. It's 6-1 Braves. Oh my God. I don't understand how Marsh is getting platooned. You traded a top prospect for him. Stott is better hitting lefties also, so don't get that. I don't know. I don't know, Julian. I can't like every time I criticize Rob Thompson, the guy that he puts in there does good. So I just can't I just don't criticize it. I just let it happen at this point. Let's see. Why the D-backs good all of a sudden? I don't get it. Me neither. Maybe they just like playing spoiler. I guess that's the thing. I couldn't tell you there, man. Is this Nick Castellanos out long? There's been zero. Right, he's only been put on the 10-day IL, so I'm not sure what the issue is. You don't trade O'Hoppe to platoon Marsh. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I do think long-term Marsh is the center fielder for the future. I do think that long-term. It's just, I guess because of the lefty thing and all that stuff. I don't know, dude. I couldn't tell you. I just couldn't tell you overall. So, I think this is going to do it for tonight's recap, everyone. I thank you everyone for joining the stream as always. Do not forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. I like to read those. Don't forget to drop a like on the video. Do not forget to check out everything in the description below. Painted Lions, BrodesMedia. I recommend all of that. I also recommend hitting the subscribe button. Goes a very long way. And also use the code TTPSports, $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek. Great deal. Don't pass it up, everyone. Thank you for joining the stream as always, and I will see you next time.